Hello everyone and welcome again to our special village. Today we're going to talk about a topic that we just spoke about in our last video, and it is about how to keep our children safe in schools. And in particular, when we are talking about eating accidents, choking accidents, more specifically. And in particular, we want to talk about children who need to be in a wheelchair for mobility reasons. So just to make this very clear, when I am saying that I would like all options to be on the table, I am not saying remove some of the options that are available today. For example, when we met with school health officials and when I say we, again, I'm referring to myself, representing our special village, and I'm referring to an organization called Equal First Aid, and we met, the executive director, Mrs. LeBate, and I met with school officials from the special education department and from school health in New York City Department of Education. They were under the impression, or we had the impression, that they thought, and we were talking about removing some of the options from the table, or we were asking for them to explain what their procedures were like. They did explain, however, and what they did say wasn't really incredibly convincing, not to a parent, not to an advocate, not to Equal First Aid, because some of the procedures that they have, they're great, but they're not very viable. And what we want to make sure is that the options that are on the table are viable, which is why we want to provide with as many options as possible. So this video is actually for you, teacher, for you, school administrator, for you, school nurse, for anyone who works in a school. And I'm sure that even you are a parent, or know someone with children, or have nieces or nephews, or are really keenly aware of what happens with children in schools. I worked in special education I still work in special education, but I worked in schools for many years. And I work with children with special needs all my life. And I can tell you, every time we went to the cafeteria for students' lunch, every time those children saw food, we had to tell them to slow down, because they just kept putting things in their mouth, and choking was the order of the day. Mostly we kept staff around all the time and trained in CPR and first aid, because kids could choke so easily. This would be another option to make sure that that child that chokes doesn't have to die from choking. I know, and anyone who's listening to this video knows, that choking is a really serious cause of death in the United States. And I know that this has happened in the New York City Department of Education. It happened in District 75, the district that I work for 18 years, in the New York City Department of Education. And I know that they're interested in making sure that this doesn't happen again. So I know that eventually, you out there who's listening to me right now, if you're listening to me, you know who you are. You know who I'm referring to. I know you're going to come to the right decision. And all you have to do, really, if you're a teacher, school nurse, school administrator, school official, even you, Mayor Eric Adams of the New York City, you are in control of the New York City Department of Education, and this is really, it all falls under your responsibility. So I'm making a call to you as well. Reach out to my dear friend, Mrs. Tony LeBate from Equal First Aid. She'll send you some of these for free. She offered. I was part of the conversation, but she offered to donate some of these devices to you guys. So you can see what we're talking about. So you can see that it takes nothing to make sure that children are kept safe in schools. There's no responsibility more essential for a school official, for a school administrator, and to make sure that those kids are safe. Let's not wait until something happens. We all know that schools and administrations are very quick to react when something happens, right? We are all reactionary. Let's not do that this time. Let's make sure that before something happens, we have an option. Just know that this is what we know. We have presented peer-reviewed articles from peer-reviewed journals, and we presented them to the school officials of the New York City Department of Education, and we've heard nothing from them. So, an answer would be great. An answer would be awesome. This is not a video to tell people everything that people do wrong. This is a video to tell people that I know that they're going to do what's right, and I know that they're going to keep our children safe. I know this is going to happen. I know you're going to reach out to me, or you're going to reach out to Mrs. Lube at some point, and hopefully it won't be too late when you reach out to us and you tell us, yes, let us try this device. Let us keep a device in every school. Let's make sure that our children are safe. And if we don't want this to happen, but if it does happen, that a child gets to a point where the abdominal thrust is not working, or they're in a wheelchair, and we're wasting precious seconds, we're wasting precious time to save this child, that we have an option that's quick. And anyone who operated a plunger in their lives, and I know you did, anyone who's operated a plunger in their lives can operate this. So school official, school nurse, school administrator, mayor of the city of New York, mayor of any town who's listening to me right now, make sure you get this for your schools. And get this in particular if you have children who need this as an effective saving option that would be compliant with the ADA, because we would make sure that no time is wasted in saving their lives. Thank you so much for your attention, and I'll see you on the next video. Last time we talked to parents about their need for advocacy and what they can do in order to bring up this topic to school administration, to the school district administration, to anyone that they think would be necessary in order to bring this topic to light, to bring this issue to light. And specifically when we talk about choking, we're talking about how to make sure that we have all and every single option that we can have on the table for our children. And when we talked about that, we talked about a device like this, which is called an airway clearing device. And it helps to dislodge anything that has been obstructing the airway. So when one is choking, typically it is because something went the wrong way, as we typically say, and it is obstructing the airway. And in order to remove that obstruction, to dislodge that item from here, from the airway, this is an incredible, viable option for anyone who would be experiencing a delay in applying what we typically call the abdominal thrust, which is the tried and tested method for removing food that has been that's been stuck in our airway.